Hello and welcome to the Punta Gorda History Center History Moment. We're at the Punta Gorda History Center and I'm Teresa Murtha, the center's director. Today we'd like to talk a little bit about the people who were here prior to the arrival of Ponce de Leon in 1513. Ponce came to our shore at that time, but prior to that and during that time, there were two Indian tribal groups, the Calusa and the Timucua, who occupied this area of Florida. There was a dividing line that was across Charlotte Harbor, north-south. The Timucua held the northern territories, and the Calusa were in the southern areas, really south of us, although I'm sure they wandered into our area too in their exploits because they were fisher folk. That's mainly how the Calusa sustained themselves. The Timucua were farmers, they were agricultural, so they tended to occupy lands towards central Florida up to through Tampa. And both tribes fought with each other prior to the arrival of the Europeans. But when the Europeans came, both tribal groups began to slowly be destroyed by disease, by intertribal warfares, by massacres by the Spanish. And by 1763, when the peninsula of Florida was taken over by the British from Spain, the tribes were very small in numbers, less than 500 in each group. So these people, the remaining Timucua and Calusa, were said to have been taken to Cuba by the Spanish once the British took over Florida. The only remembrance we have here of these two groups physically is the statue that adorns our town in front of the Freeman House as you come into Punta Gorda. And that statue was designed and created by Peter Toth, who made that out of a monkey pod tree that was on the Macadales property. The Macadales were early Punta Gordans, Perry and Marion, who had a property right on the harbor, and they had this tree that was ultimately part of the hotel property that was there. And at some point, the owner wanted to get rid of it, and so Toth turned it into this statue commemorating both tribal groups that had occupied this area of Florida. And you can see the statue. It's called, and you'll recognize the name, and it's a combination of the two tribal groups. As I remember, here is the statue in front of the Freeman House, and it's called Calusa and Timucua, a mixture of the two tribal names. So that's our moment for today.